Monsters Incorporated is my favorite Pixar movie of all time. It was a great combination of good writing, memorable characters, and solid world building. I always wished we got a direct sequel. Well, I got my wish, just not in the way I expected. Monsters at Work is a 2021 workplace comedy on Disney+. Tyler Tuskman, a top graduate of Monsters University, gets his dream job at Monsters Inc. Upon entering, he learns that the factory has just replaced scare power with laugh power. With his scaring degree now considered obsolete, Tyler gets reassigned to MIFT, a group of crazy factory engineers. Meanwhile, Mike and Sully arrest the former CEO and take over the company. They introduce the Jokester program, where they train former scarers as certified comedians. Tyler signs up, hoping to join the big leagues with Mike and Sully. Can he survive this funny business? Monsters at Work is a mixed bag. No, scratch that. A monster-sized mixed bag. The first season for me was hit or miss. Outside of Mike and Sully, the main plot was just underwhelming. Season 2, on the other hand, is actually pretty good. The humor and the character arcs are leaps and bounds ahead. Now, I hate to admit this, but Monsters at Work is basically memory hold by the Disney-Pixar fandom at large. Does it deserve this reputation? That's where I step in. Today is my 26th birthday. Rather than spending the whole day getting drunk or something, I'm watching the follow-up to my favorite childhood movie. There's a lot to say, so strap in. By the way, full spoilers for the entire Monsters Inc. franchise. Monsters at Work is built on the assumption you've seen the movies. If you haven't seen them in a while, don't worry, here's a quick rundown. In a parallel universe, monsters have developed advanced technology. They've constructed cars, skyscrapers, and portals that lead directly into the human world. Yet, this civilization faces a looming energy crisis. A subset of creatures, called scarers, are tasked with terrorizing human children and converting those screams into usable energy. The top scarers in town are James P. Sullivan and Michael Wazowski. Sully is a walking carpet with a heart of gold. His partner is Mike, a wisecracking green eyeball. During the first movie, the duo discovers that human laughter generates 10 times more energy than scream power. One amazing adventure later, they take over the factory and install comedy power as a permanent solution. Monsters at Work explores the dicey ramifications of laugh power. How does a society of fearsome monsters adapt as stand-up comedians? Is laughter enough to solve the energy crisis? How does a college graduate cope with having his degree rendered useless? Tyler Tuskman makes up the A plots, while Mike and Sully make up the B plots. On top of retraining their workforce, both men deal with city inspectors, corporate bureaucracy, and cleaning up the mess left behind the previous regime. Now, I was worried Mike and Sully were going to be dumbed down for the show. Thankfully, I was proven wrong. They feel exactly like the same charismatic duo from the past. They frequently interact with the Mifters, giving them advice to become more ethical workers. Their original actors reprise their roles to great effect.
We have to take the baby out?
Just while we make the repairs.
Nope.
What if I take her out?
Not after what happened last time with Boo. Remember? Outlay in the egg bay.
Is he speaking French?
Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Boo, the little girl from the first movie, doesn't show up. At most, she's mentioned in dialogue. If you were expecting the Boo and Kitty reunion show, well, you're gonna be disappointed. Now, this might be heresy, but I'm actually glad that Boo doesn't come back. As much as I enjoyed her friendship with Mike and Sully, she had the perfect ending. The show didn't need to rehash her story. Instead, the series focuses on a new generation of monsters. Tyler Tuskman is a piece of cardboard. I mean, he's got big dreams, but is socially awkward around other people. He's an assistant engineer at the Monsters Inc. facilities team, or MIFT for short. MIFT is responsible for keeping the factory systems in check. Okay, so get this. Tyler graduated as a top scarer at Monsters University.
You're Tyler Tuskman, aren't you?
Yes I am.
Who do you think recommended you for the job? You graduated top of your class, even broke my record in the simulation room.
Wait, you're telling me Tyler is more frightening than the great James Patrick Sullivan? Excuse me? Tyler's design seriously irks me. He's this lanky dinosaur with long horns, a giant torso, and blue hair. You know, I get the whole idea of, oh, he's a doofus. Make sure to accentuate his awkward features. He looks more like a botched creation from the video game Spore. In fact, the new creature designs range from okay to downright lazy. I get this is a franchise for all ages, you can't make your characters too horrific, but dude, the movies blow MAW out of the water. Their monsters were freaky, disfigured, and all around memorable. Pixar struck a delicate balance between friendly teen players and we're gonna scar you for life. Sully fits this dichotomy perfectly. Okay, back to our empty vessel, Tyler. He has zero strong personality traits other than what the plot demands of him. His superiors at Myth are no better. His manager is Fritz, this plump elephant guy who's part wacky uncle, part dementia patient. His subordinates are just as promising. Cutter is this crab lady who likes to slack off. She says some one-liners, and that's just it. Duncan is this petty schemer with 4 eyes and tiny devil wings. He fears that Tyler will undermine his authority, well, lack thereof. Duncan is my favorite Mifter due to his hubris and failed attempts to seem morally superior. The last member is Val, an energetic monster with long legs. She met Tyler once at MU. Tyler finds her clingy, however, she quickly evolves as his field guide / best friend. Now, Mift sounds interesting on paper, but their comedic routines are one note. It's 4 obnoxious weirdos who gaslight the new guy into being their friend, which is a solid concept, but the writing for these 5 is bland and surface level. They stick to one character trait and don't develop much nuance past that. Speaking of which, the writing is all over the place. Now, whenever Mike and Sully are involved, it's great. Some of their shenanigans include taking a human baby to a baseball game, blowing out the company budget on extraneous stuff, and dealing with the press. But when we get to Mift, which is the majority of this show, it's hit or miss. In the episode The Cover-Up, a safety inspector makes a surprise visit in Monsters Incorporated. Duncan and Tyler get into a heated argument and cause a citywide power disruption. Both men have to put aside their differences and clean up their mess or risk getting MI shut down. It's a great setup with some solid gags related to the work accidents. Tyler and Duncan own up to their mistakes and apologize to each other. You know, it's one of the few decent episodes. Then you have the Big Wazowskis. Mike challenges his evil rival Gary to a bowling tournament. Gary? Okay, side note, Gary is a literal blue color swap of Mike. Is it lazy? Yes. This is the most generic version of any bowling episode. The main characters realize they suck at bowling, but they'll give it their best anyway. There's no special twist like having giant monster pins or setting the balls on fire. It's a regular version of bowling. Hey, do you remember that Party Central short for MU? You know how they used the portal doors to smuggle their classmates from across the campus? Why couldn't we have that in MAW? Like, have the bowling balls fly through the different human rooms. MAW never does anything cool with this portal tech. This right here is the Achilles heel of Season 1. It has solid ideas, but it only puts in the effort when it feels like it. That's a shame, because it goes all in for the returning characters. For example, I adore the mentorship between Tyler, Mike, and Sully. In the last episode, Sully explains to Tyler why he's adamant on laugh power. He was ashamed of scaring Boo for life and vowed to end that corrupt practice. Tyler is taken aback by his humility.
I just wish we could go back to scare power, you know? I mean, that's what I'm good at.
I never told you about what happened with Boo. The fear in her eyes when she was scared. I didn't like what I saw. What I saw in me. Laugh power is the heart of the new Monsters, Inc. And it's also the right thing to do.
Sully's vocal performance is incredible, seeing the warmth, regret, and wisdom all in the same performance. I wish we had more moments like these, but we gotta move on. The season ends with Tyler becoming a certified jokester. Season 1 was a mess. Now thankfully, he earns a degree in character development next time around. In Season 2, Tyler loses his passion as a jokester. The human children have grown tired of his repetitive jokes, and he struggles coming up with new material. Wanting to reignite his dream as a scarer, Tyler applies to the rival company Fearco. Tyler sucks up to the CEO, but comes at the risk of alienating his current friends at MI. Meanwhile, Monsters Inc. faces a slew of public scandals. The press is skeptical over the effectiveness of laugh power. Mike and Sully perform damage control, but face a relentless smear campaign by Johnny Worthington, the current boss at Fearco. Lastly, a saboteur is wrecking Monsters Incorporated from within. Will Tyler, Sully, and Mike be able to rescue the company in time? The difference between the first and second seasons is astounding. The writing is far more compelling. It's hard to believe this is the same show. Season 1 was episodic, while Season 2 is serialized. For once, we see the long-term consequences of Myth's actions. Tyler's secret ambition slowly erodes the trust of his co-workers. Because he's constantly ducking out of work between breaks, Tyler faces real character flaws. So what exactly caused Tyler to regress his development from Season 1? Here's the thing, being a scarer was the equivalent of earning a master's degree. It took discipline, bravery, and deep knowledge of human psychology. Scarers were the guys who powered the city. If you made it as a successful scarer, you were basically considered the top class of society. This all changed when Mike and Sully proposed an alternate profession, making children laugh. The citizens of Metropolis rejected this notion, believing it violated the core tenets of being a monster. Monsters aren't supposed to be funny and soft, they're supposed to be fearsome and tough. The show leans into this anti-laughter angle. We have scenes of random bystanders insulting Tyler for his jokester profession, demeaning him as a court jester and a total loser.
Are you one of those jokesters? I know you. You're the guy that tanked at the MU homecoming game. He was hilarious. I laughed so hard, I needed my inhaler.
Don't listen to them.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
He has a hard time making the case for laugh power, usually hampered by his own clumsiness. In the episode, it's coming from inside the house. Tyler's family hardware store is on the verge of bankruptcy. Damn, what can be done? Tyler is apprehensive about selling his Monster TCG set, a full collection of rare cards. But with the persuasion of Myth, Tyler sells off his childhood memorabilia and saves the store. I did not expect MAW to mention family poverty, but it's refreshing it's tackling a subject relatable for older viewers. This situation hits close to me. I felt Tyler's anguish and pain trying to sell off his merchandise and trying to keep his family afloat. It's a good episode overall. Tyler is no longer a purple NPC. He ends up betraying the company that gave him purpose. In the finale, he learns to never throw his friends under the bus. It's impressive this show managed to humanize a previously monotone character. It's good stuff, especially with a recurring villain. Johnny Worthington is the manipulative, yet charismatic boss of Fearco. Back in the prequel movie, Johnny used to be good friends with Sully. Later, Johnny and his fraternity were humiliated by Sully and Mike during a competition. He held a grudge ever since. Johnny is a great villain for many reasons. He's slimy, passive-aggressive, and amazing at the arts of roasting people.
Jill, I've known Sully a long time, and I'm sure he believes what he's saying about laugh power, but you're right.
Sure.
It's untested.
Oh, wait a minute.
You've had your time.
Yes,
My neighbors and I just want safe and reliable power.
but laughs are safe, you see.
Mr. Sullivan,
Look, let me
and we're out of time.
Just give me a second.
We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Let me
He promises Tyler that Fearco can lift his family out of poverty if he defects from MI. Oh, and he treats his employees like garbage. He is the perfect counterweight to Sully and Mike. In the season finale, Tyler is framed for damaging MI's power grid. He quits in disgrace and joins Fearco. It turns out, working at Fearco actually kinda sucks. Tyler gets peer pressured into scaring one of his child clients from MI and feels ashamed afterward. Later, MI loses all of its power and the crew gets sent to the Pixar equivalent of Homeland Security. Tyler discovers that Fearco is siphoning MI's power supply. Johnny mixes both laugh power and scream power together in the hopes of amplifying his profits. However, this mixture is chemically unstable. If Tyler doesn't disable Fearco's power supply in time, Metropolis will become the next Chernobyl. We then learn that Johnny hired Randall Boggs as his spy. Yeah, Randall is back. So in the first movie, he was jealous of Sully being the #1 scarer all the time. Randall was cunning, ruthless, and had the special ability to blend in with the environment. He's one of Pixar's best supporting villains. Season 2 didn't do him any justice. On one hand, it's a stroke of genius bringing him back. He was banished by a walking fursuit and an eyeball. He was dead set on revenge. On the other hand, he's been downgraded to a generic video game lackey. He's barely mentioned for 8 episodes, and when he does show up, he's defeated in 15 minutes. That's it? It's the other Mifters who overcome Randall. Not Tyler, not Sully, not Mike. It's the side characters doing the dirty work, not our main protagonists. Tyler regroups with Myth, apologizes for his betrayal, and gives him a new game plan. Myth disables Firko's power storage unit and saves the day. Tyler and Val expose Johnny's lies on national TV, including his claims that lab power is a total sham. Tyler then makes amends with the human boy he scared earlier. Monsters Inc. returns to business, and lab power is now celebrated by society. It ends with Tyler and Val proudly accepting their roles as comedic partners. If Season 2 was so good, why didn't nobody talk about Monsters at Work? At least no one aside from diehard Pixar fans like yours truly. Monsters at Work was a Disney Plus original series. I could make a whole separate video explaining the abysmal management of Disney-. 90% of the original programming is soulless garbage. It's more useful setting your money on fire rather than subscribing to Disney Plus. Monsters at Work was competing against endless mediocrity on a fledgling streaming service. The first season came out in July 2021. Season 2 premiered in May of 2024 on Disney Plus. That's a 3-year gap. I couldn't find a reason why they waited that long. Maybe it was the writer's strike, or they withheld the show for a potential gap in programming. Whatever the case, most TV shows can't survive that kind of hiatus. The last issue, unfortunately, comes down to the quality of the writing. Monsters at Work didn't have a strong hook past the first couple of episodes. Most viewers came for the novelty of seeing Mike and Sully again. Once that wore off, you were left with a middling first season that didn't fire on all cylinders. It's not shocking why this show fell into obscurity. It's a shame too. Monsters at Work, when they actually tried, was a great time. It respects the original movies, the visual comedy is great, and the second season is a worthy follow-up. I love the exploration of several important themes, i.e. learning to adapt to new circumstances, and the stress of not losing your sanity to your co-workers. The Monsters Inc. franchise means a lot to me. Monsters at Work won't please everyone, but it made for a fascinating comparison between itself and the movies. And I'm glad I saw it to the end. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this birthday present. Remember, no monsters were harmed in the making of this video.